Camilla loses control after Prince George gets big royal title over grandson. Something is simmering behind the walls of the British royal household, and this time, the turbulence comes from someone who has always seemed to know how to keep her composure, Queen Camilla. During what appeared to be a routine ceremony, Prince George was unexpectedly granted a royal title of immense significance. But what truly stirred public attention was Camilla's reportedly uncontrolled reaction afterward. The reason that prestigious title did not go to any of her own grandsons, even though they are of suitable age and have already participated in numerous royal duties. What is really happening behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace? Why would someone who has often claimed to be indifferent to titles reveal such intense emotions? And could this be a sign of a quiet power struggle emerging between different branches of the royal family? Join us as we delve into this dramatic and layered story surrounding Prince George's new title and the silent fury of the woman who now sits beside the throne. It was supposed to be a sweet little royal moment, a celebration, something polished, ceremonial, and above all, harmless. Prince George, fresh-faced and grinning, was awarded a prestigious honorary title that symbolized his growing role in the monarchy. Cameras flashed, the press swooned, royal fans gushed over the young heir's bright future. But not everyone behind the palace gates was toasting. In fact, one person was shattered. Queen Camilla may have worn a calm face in public, but insiders say she was anything but composed when the announcement dropped. And here's the kicker, she wasn't even told about it beforehand. The wife of King Charles III, someone who has spent decades trying to cement her place in this historically ruthless institution, learned about Prince George's new title the same way everyone else did, through a press release. To the world, it seemed like another step forward for the monarchy, a fresh, modernized royal generation being ushered in. But for Camilla, it was a message wrapped in silk gloves. Her bloodline didn't count. Her grandson, Freddie Parker Bowles, wasn't even in the conversation. People close to her say she read that press release and just froze. Not because she disliked George, not because she thought he was unworthy, but because in that split second, all her hopes for her family's inclusion in the royal legacy dissolved like fog in sunlight. She realized again that no matter how close she stood to the throne, her family was still considered outsiders. Now, to be clear, Camilla's been through worse: public hatred, tabloid slaughter, years of being portrayed as the villain in the Charles and Diana fairy tale, and somehow she emerged from all of that as queen consort. But this was different because this time the rejection wasn't about her. It was about her children, her grandchildren, the people she thought she had quietly fought for behind closed doors. Freddie Parker Bowles had been popping up more often at palace events, charming, well-behaved, and every bit the poised young man his grandmother had hoped to raise in Windsor's shadow. Camilla made sure he was seated close to senior royals, featured in photos, even mentioned in internal palace newsletters. She didn't ask for much. No grand demands, no titles shouted from the rooftops, just quiet nudges, subtle positioning, a soft campaign for recognition, not for power, but for belonging. But Prince William wasn't having it. His vision for the future of the monarchy is clear: smaller, tighter, and strictly based on blood. No half measures, no blurring of the lines. It's the Windsor way or no way. So when the time came to assign the ceremonial honor, an age-old symbol of future leadership, William's decision was firm. The title would go to Prince George, and Freddie would remain in the footnotes. Camilla, of course, had hoped Charles would step in, the man who had once gone against an entire nation's fury to be with her. Surely he'd say something, offer a compromise, push back just a little. But he didn't. Charles, it seems, chose legacy over loyalty this time. He picked stability over sentiment. Sources say Camilla was devastated. She canceled events, avoided meetings. Even her staff noticed a shift: distant, withdrawn, colder than usual. Behind the scenes, she allegedly asked Charles, "Did you even try?" And while he may have offered gentle reassurances, she knew the truth. The decision had been made, and not in her favor. Because in the royal family, bloodlines aren't just about genetics. They're about legacy, titles, power, and more than anything, about who gets to write history and who gets left out of the story. Camilla had always known she wasn't born into royalty. She wasn't a Windsor, wasn't raised in palaces, and wasn't molded by the weight of a crown from birth. But what she did have was persistence. She outlasted scandal, rebuilt her image, and climbed from the margins of royal disgrace to stand beside the King of England. What no one saw, though, was that her climb wasn't just for herself. It was for her family, especially the ones who bore her name, not Windsor's. Her children, Tom and Laura, had never sought the spotlight, and neither had her grandson Freddie. But Camilla had quietly envisioned a world where they were gently woven into the ceremonial fabric of the crown, not as heirs, not as royalty per se, but as acknowledged, as visible, as part of the extended royal narrative. The people might not have noticed it, but behind every polite family photo and every carefully organized appearance, there was intent, a slow, steady effort to place Freddie near the royal orbit. The quiet resistance came just as steadily. William, raised in a kingdom shaped by survival, wasn't interested in sentimentality. To him, the monarchy was an institution first and a family second. His job was to preserve it, protect its image, and trim any confusion from its message. That meant no blurred lines, no inclusion of step-grandchildren in royal protocols, and certainly no ceremonial titles handed out based on love or personal wishes. Camilla, however, had been playing the long game. She'd hosted private dinners where Freddie's name would come up with pride. She arranged photo ops that included him. There were whispers, completely off the record, about a minor, purely symbolic title one day. Something gentle, nothing dramatic. But even that idea never made it past the protective circle surrounding William and Kate. Kate wasn't cold, but she was cautious. Her loyalty was to her children, to the Windsor line, and to the idea of a monarchy that remained direct, clean, and beyond favoritism. She understood the optics better than anyone. A step-grandchild receiving a title might look like nepotism. It might invite questions. It might weaken the line she and William had spent years strengthening. So when the title went to George and Freddie's name was nowhere to be seen, the silence said everything. Camilla wasn't just hurt, she was humiliated. Her private dreams, the years of subtle maneuvering, the hope that her sacrifices would mean something for the next generation of her blood, it all collapsed under a single headline. She didn't explode, she didn't scream, but she did retreat. Her schedule cleared, her voice dimmed, and those closest to her said she looked haunted. Like a woman who had finally realized the doors she thought she'd opened were still locked shut for the people who mattered most to her. Charles, caught in the middle, tried to smooth things over. He proposed alternatives. Maybe a different honor down the line. Maybe a private acknowledgement. But William wasn't budging. The line had been drawn, and Charles, who had once fought for Camilla so fiercely, chose not to cross it. To Camilla, that was the true betrayal. Not the title itself, but the realization that the man who had changed history for her wouldn't bend the future for her grandson. That all her loyalty, her patience, her silence had hit a wall. Her love was real. Her sacrifices were real. But in the palace's grand equation of heritage and hierarchy, they simply didn't add up. Freddie wasn't excluded by mistake. He was left out by design. The pageantry rolled on. George stepped forward in front of the cameras, his title announced with pride, the public beaming at the glimpse of their future king. Behind the scenes, however, a very different kind of silence filled Clarence's house. Camilla didn't speak much that evening. She sat quietly in her private sitting room, a printed copy of the palace's announcement resting on her lap, its edges creased from her grip. Her staff tiptoed around her. No one knew what to say. "She's been gutted," one insider said. You could see it in her eyes. It wasn't anger. It was like watching someone realize they've lost something they never truly had. Camilla had always known the monarchy played by its own rules, but somewhere along the way, she'd started to believe she could shape those rules, even just a little. She thought years of loyalty, discretion, and duty might count for something when it came to her family. That maybe, just maybe, she could bend tradition enough to carve out a small place for them. That illusion shattered with a single headline. Freddie didn't know the full weight of what had happened, but he noticed his grandmother's sudden change in mood. He noticed when his name, once gently whispered in royal circles, suddenly disappeared from conversations. He noticed when he wasn't invited to an event he usually attended. What he might not fully understand yet is that his blood, unlike George's, carries no power here. Not in the world of crowns and thrones. William had made his call, and Charles had accepted it. The future would belong solely to the Windsor line. The Parker Bowles name wouldn't be etched into history books. It would fade quietly into the background, no matter how close its holder stood to the throne. Camilla wasn't naive. She knew her past. She knew she'd never be fully embraced, but she thought at the very least that her love for Charles, her transformation in the public eye, and her unwavering service would be enough to shift something, to do anything for her grandson. Instead, it was made abundantly clear her crown was a symbol of her survival, not her family's acceptance. Palace aides say the emotional aftermath lingered. Camilla began to distance herself from certain events, especially those centered around William and Kate. Conversations that once flowed with ease between her and Charles became clipped. She smiled for cameras, fulfilled her duties, but the warmth had drained. She was doing the wrong, not living the wrong. Charles, ever the strategist, hoped it would pass, but he underestimated what had broken. This wasn't a temporary frustration. It was the realization that the legacy Camilla dreamed of, one where her family wasn't just standing behind her, but standing beside her, was never going to exist. In a place where bloodlines are more sacred than bonds, Camilla's chapter ends not with scandal or disgrace, but with silence. She has the crown, the title, and the royal portrait. But the story of her family stops with her. Freddie won't inherit a title. He won't walk in royal processions or sit beside kings. His connection to the monarchy exists in photos, not protocol. Camilla will continue on. She'll smile. She'll wave. But behind her eyes will always be the quiet ache of knowing that she reached the peak alone, and that everything she endured to get there couldn't make space for the ones she loved most. Because in this kingdom, belonging isn't something you earn. It's something you're born into. And for Queen Camilla's family, the gates never really opened. Although Prince George is still very young, the new title he received has unexpectedly become the center of hidden tensions within the royal family. Camilla's intense reaction reveals not only personal dissatisfaction, but also hints at quiet fractures between generations and branches of the Windsor lineage. Behind the glamorous facade and lavish ceremonies, could there be a calculated power game unfolding? And is this title merely a recognition of George's future role, or a subtle declaration of William's bloodline prevailing over the rest of the family? If you too sense that something deeper is stirring behind those ancient palace walls, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Join us as we continue to uncover the untold secrets of the British monarchy, Queen Camilla banned from royal family. After Prince Harry's shocking revelation, Prince Harry has described the Duchess of Cornwall as a dangerous figure. Now known as the Queen Consort, she is accused by him of deliberately dealing with journalists, exchanging information to avoid being cast as the villain. In his view, she was indeed the antagonist, the third party intruding into a sacred relationship. For many years, my mother bore the title of Queen, a responsibility she carried with grace through a prolonged reign. Though one might anticipate such a transition, it is rarely something that occupies the mind at that very moment. My mother was queen for an exceedingly long time, yet the reverence once afforded her no longer resonates in the present. King Charles passes by without receiving a bow of respect, and Camilla's footsteps elicit no gesture of acknowledgement from those she encounters. Nevertheless, there remains a distinct sense that the time for change has arrived. After years rife with internal discord and unrelenting public scrutiny, the idea of Camilla departing from Buckingham Palace no longer feels like an implausible fantasy. In fact, reports indicate that Princess Anne made a remark, its clarity so striking that it may have sparked a resolve to guide events in an uncharted direction. Though Anne maintains an air of diplomatic finesse, her words reveal a subtle shift in the royal sentiment. Similarly, Princess Kate seems to have adopted a stance both discreet and steadfast, aligning with Anne's perspective, further solidifying the belief that a transformation is approaching. So how did we reach this point? What roles do Anne and Kate play behind the closed doors of power, and what does this mean for Camilla's position? It is a universally acknowledged truth that the royal family is far from the perfect image they present to the world. Beneath the polished exterior and carefully orchestrated media moments lies a realm teeming with covert rivalries, intricate power plays, and a fierce struggle for influence. The burden of maintaining familial loyalty alongside public duty weighs heavily on royal shoulders, a load made even more oppressive by the unrelenting gaze of the press, a scrutiny that makes tension an inevitable companion. Amid this meticulously constructed public mask, a deeper conflict has been quietly simmering. Princess Anne, long a forthright voice within the royal family, has recently taken it upon herself to express her thoughts on the matter, and her declarations have undoubtedly broadened perspectives. She has openly challenged Camilla's legitimacy, asserting with conviction that Camilla is unfit for the role of queen. In a direct confrontation, Anne told Camilla to her face, "You are queen consort, not queen." Her stance is deeply rooted in history, tied to those years when whispers of an affair between Camilla and King Charles first emerged, casting a shadow over Princess Diana while she was still alive. But is that sufficient to condemn someone's position? When you examine the annals of royal history, scandals abound. From King George IV's controversial marriage to a Catholic widow to King Henry VIII's extreme measures to secure a male heir, scandals are hardly new to the monarchy. So why does Anne's view of Camilla diverge so sharply from the rest? To grasp the gravity of the current situation, we must first acknowledge the darker side of the British royal family. What many may not realize is that behind the glamorous facade lies a tangled web of tension, betrayal, and unresolved conflicts. The royal family has long been a stage for power struggles, and the notion of perfect unity is far removed from the reality they experience. Despite their polished exterior, the family is no stranger to controversy. Royal drama has persisted across generations, fueled by bitter rivalries, whispered scandals, and hidden feuds that often surface when least expected. The latest chapter in the royal saga, this simmering conflict, is one that no one foresaw. So what exactly is transpiring behind the palace doors? How have these simmering tensions between Princess Anne, Kate, and Camilla reached a boiling point? What lies ahead for the royal family as the winds of change seem to grow stronger with each passing day? At the heart of this ongoing drama are King Charles, Camilla, the princesses, and nearly every member of the royal family. The eyes of the world are fixed upon them, and every move they make is under the public microscope. Whether it's a royal engagement or even a fleeting glance, every detail is scrutinized. This constant attention has fueled an unrelenting cycle of rumors, speculation, and intrigue, leading to countless stories of alliances, personal grudges, and hidden power struggles unfolding behind the grand walls of Buckingham Palace. The public's insatiable appetite for royal drama is no secret, and the royal family is keenly aware of this. Only royals can stir chaos behind palace walls and in the public eye. Over the years, they have meticulously crafted their public image, ensuring they always appear as the epitome of grace and unity. But despite this carefully constructed facade, all is not as perfect as it seems behind the scenes. The cracks within the royal family became more apparent when Camilla transitioned from being Charles's controversial partner to becoming his queen consort. This shift not only divided public opinion, it ignited tensions within the royal family itself. It is this undercurrent of resentment and discord that forms the core of the unfolding drama we are witnessing now. But that's not all. Enter Harry and Meghan. Their departure from royal duties added a new layer of complexity to the monarchy's struggles. Their candid interviews, often critical of the family, have only intensified the media's obsession with the royals, making it harder for the family to maintain the pristine image they have worked so hard to uphold. While the royal family has long been adept at projecting unity, the conflict brewing now feels deeper than the usual familial disputes. What might once have been dismissed as disagreements among family members has evolved into something far more significant, an issue with the potential to reshape the future of the monarchy itself. At the center of this widening rift is Princess Anne. Her recent shocking statement about Camilla has sent shockwaves through the palace. Anne has pointed to the queen consort as a significant threat to the very foundation of the royal system. This bold remark has prompted the monarchy to reconsider Camilla's position, and it appears to have set in motion a process that could lead to her complete removal from the royal family. The situation inside Buckingham Palace is evolving rapidly, and it is clear that what is happening behind those closed doors is anything but simple. Even those observing from the outside struggle to keep pace with the swift changes taking place. With tensions now escalating to new heights, the question on everyone's mind is how the royal family will respond to the growing divides and what the future holds for the monarchy amid these shifting dynamics. When we think of Princess Anne and Princess Kate, both stand out as calm, duty-driven members of the royal family. Anne, ever committed to fulfilling her royal responsibilities, remains focused on the task at hand. She is a tireless worker within the royal fold, representing the monarchy alongside King Charles at events like Trooping the Color. Meanwhile, Kate is often seen as the family's stabilizing presence, a role she performs with grace and minimal controversy. But how did this seemingly serene duo find themselves entangled in the ongoing drama surrounding Camilla at Buckingham Palace? This is where the narrative begins to take an intriguing turn. Examining the relationships within the royal household, it is evident that Camilla and Princess Anne do not exactly get along. Their dynamic is far from amicable, and the reasons are easy to discern. Anne's staunch beliefs and uncompromising approach to royal duties often make it challenging for her to forge close bonds with other family members. She is a woman guided by principle and duty, and this has shaped her entire royal career. Over the years, her unwavering commitment to her role has earned her a respected position within the family. However, her approach to these responsibilities can sometimes be perceived as extreme, particularly when it comes to safeguarding the monarchy. Princess Anne has always been fiercely protective of the royal family. When she believes something or someone threatens its integrity, she does not hesitate to speak out. Her concerns about Queen Consort Camilla have been made explicit, particularly regarding Camilla's past and her influence over King Charles. Anne has questioned whether Camilla is truly suited to the role of Queen Consort, especially given her controversial history involving the late Princess Diana. This tension reached a peak during the coronation dinner when Anne reportedly engaged in a heated exchange with Camilla. From the intensity of their confrontation, it became clear that Camilla's influence within the royal family had diminished. Though it is difficult to pinpoint exactly when the rift began, the cracks within the family grew more visible as Charles ascended the throne. But is Princess Anne the only royal who seems to oppose Camilla? The answer might surprise you. While Princess Kate has not openly criticized Camilla, her actions, or rather her silence, speak volumes. Known for her calm demeanor and diplomatic nature, Kate has managed to stay largely out of the spotlight on this issue, yet her quiet stance may reveal more than any public statement could. Though Kate has not directly opposed Camilla's role, her lack of overt support raises questions about her true sentiments. It is apparent that she, like Anne, may not fully embrace Camilla as queen consort. Within the royal family, tradition holds a significant place, and any disruption to these time-honored customs can shake the monarchy's foundation. Royals deeply value duty, service, and privacy, but it is their connection to tradition that truly defines them. This bond with their royal heritage is preserved through the careful observance of rituals. During the coronation, Kate notably did not bow to Camilla, a gesture that, though small, speaks volumes about the tensions at play. This was entirely noticeable to those excluded from the coronation. Yet no one, not even Kate, curtsied to Queen Consort Camilla. In royal circles, bowing or curtsying is not merely about respect. It is a ritual that reflects the hierarchy within the monarchy. By failing to perform this customary act, Kate's actions have only fueled speculation about the growing rift within the family. In the world of the British monarchy, seemingly minor gestures can carry profound significance, especially when it comes to royal etiquette. Traditionally, the way royals bow or curtsy to one another serves as an indicator of their rank within the royal family. Kate Middleton's actions during the coronation were closely examined by the public and media, and some interpreted her choice not to curtsy as a quiet but unmistakable signal that she harbors reservations about Camilla's role as queen consort. However, it should be noted that no official statement has confirmed these speculations. It is possible that Kate's decision was more about modernizing the monarchy and its practices. Rather than adhering to the rigid formalities of the past, Kate opted for a subtle nod, balancing respect with a more contemporary approach. This act might have been a way to honor the royal family's traditions while simultaneously reflecting the changing times. At that moment, Camilla, as queen consort, technically held a higher rank than Princess Kate. Thus, per tradition, Kate was expected to curtsy upon meeting Camilla and again when they parted. Yet Kate did not follow this expectation. Instead, she offered a gentle nod. While some might consider this a minor act, it is not something to overlook, particularly within the context of royal customs. It is crucial to remember who we are discussing here. Princess Kate, who has been part of the royal family for many years. As the wife of Prince William, she has had every opportunity to learn about royal protocols and customs. She has attended public events, participated in family gatherings, and immersed herself in the traditions that define the monarchy. Yet here she was, seemingly disregarding one of the most significant gestures in the royal system, bowing. This act could be seen by many as a bold statement that Princess Kate does not fully endorse Camilla's position as queen consort. Now imagine if things had unfolded differently. What if Princess Diana had been queen consort instead? Would the atmosphere at Buckingham Palace be different today? It is a question that lingers in the minds of many, both within the royal family and among the public. Had Diana held the title, perhaps tensions would have been less severe, and relationships within the royal family might have been more harmonious. Who can say whether Prince Harry would have left the palace, or if the princes would have faced as many disputes as they do now? But we must not be too quick to make excuses for Princess Kate. As the future queen consort, an elegant future queen, Kate embraced a carefree and natural demeanor as a young woman in her 20s. She represents more than just her personal feelings. She is a symbol of the monarchy's future. Her actions set a precedent for those who will follow in the line of succession. That said, it is vital for her to strike a balance between her personal views and the responsibilities she will one day inherit. Sacrifices must be made to ensure the monarchy remains a symbol of unity and stability, even if it means swallowing personal reservations for the sake of royal affairs. Perhaps Kate simply chose to forgo the act of bowing altogether. After all, the British monarchy has been undergoing significant changes under King Charles's reign. The royal family is striving to adapt its practices to fit the modern world, yet they still aim to preserve the core values that have defined them for centuries. In this environment, it is possible that certain traditions, such as bowing, may eventually be phased out in favor of a more contemporary approach. Interestingly, the public's reaction to Kate's decision has been mixed. In an era where the royal family is expected to evolve with the times, some find it refreshing when royals break free from tradition. This subtle defiance suggests that the family comprises individuals with their own thoughts and ideas, not merely figures bound by centuries-old customs. It serves as a reminder that even in a world of tradition, there is room for personal expression and individuality within the royal family. On the other side of the debate, there remain staunch believers in the monarchy's traditions. For many within the royal family, gestures like curtsying represent more than just respect for an individual. They symbolize a commitment to preserving centuries-old customs. To them, these rituals are not optional. They are an essential part of what makes the royal family unique. The act of bowing or curtsying is not merely about formality. It reinforces the structure and respect that have defined the monarchy for generations. As the royal family's influence continues to evolve, there is an expectation that every member will honor these traditions, regardless of their position or influence within the family. For those who cherish these traditions, it is seen as imperative that every royal adheres to protocol. This is why the controversy surrounding Princess Kate and Camilla is not just a simple matter of etiquette. It concerns the direction in which the monarchy is heading. As time progresses, we can anticipate further subtle changes, particularly as the younger generation rises through the ranks. How quickly these changes unfold largely depends on how the royal family collectively embraces modern shifts while maintaining respect for their storied past. Returning the focus to Princess Anne, it appears that her aversion to Camilla extends beyond mere formality. How did things become so strained between them? What exactly did Camilla do in the eyes of Princess Anne to provoke such animosity? It is evident that the drama surrounding Camilla is far from over, and the details are nothing short of captivating. Camilla, Queen Consort of the United Kingdom, has spent much of her life in the public eye. Now the cherished wife of the new king, she has ascended to the role of Queen Consort, yet her reputation has been shaped by controversy for decades. Much of the criticism stems from her turbulent relationship with King Charles, particularly during his first marriage to Princess Diana. The affair between Charles and Camilla began well before his marriage to Diana. Though he wed Diana in 1981, the affair persisted, placing immense strain on the royal marriage. Diana herself famously referred to Camilla as the third person in her marriage to Charles, and the media largely portrayed Camilla as the culprit behind the royal marriage's collapse. In '94, Charles publicly admitted to the affair during a televised interview with Jonathan Dimbleby. This confession shocked the public and further tarnished both his and Camilla's reputations. For years, Camilla was widely disliked by the British public, particularly among Diana's supporters, who saw her as the reason for the royal divorce in 1996. Her public appearances were rare, and when she did attend royal events, her presence often met with mixed emotions from the public, especially those who remained loyal to Diana's memory. It was not until after Diana's tragic death in 1997 that public perception of Camilla began to shift, albeit slowly. Though there was a gradual softening of public opinion toward Camilla, her reputation remained tainted, and she was seldom seen in public during the early years of her relationship with Charles. As the couple's relationship became more open, many continued to view Camilla as a divisive figure, and her presence at royal events often elicited a mixed response. In 2005, when Charles and Camilla married, the royal family took the step of officially recognizing Camilla's role, but they stopped short of calling her Queen Consort. Instead, Camilla was given the title of Princess Consort, as it was believed the British public was not yet ready to accept her as queen. The decision to refer to Camilla as Princess Consort rather than Queen Consort sparked further debate. But when Charles ascended the throne in 2022, it was officially announced that Camilla would become Queen Consort, a decision that provoked mixed reactions. Many Diana supporters, still loyal to her legacy, expressed their displeasure at the idea of Camilla assuming the title, arguing that she was not a worthy replacement for Diana. Though the decision was made by Charles himself, it remained a topic of public discussion, with many viewing Camilla's new title as a betrayal of Diana's memory. Over the years, Camilla has endeavored to carve out her own space within the royal family, focusing on her charitable work and public responsibilities. She has been a vocal advocate for numerous causes, including literacy programs and animal welfare, gradually building her reputation as a respected charity patron. Despite these efforts, her past continues to haunt her, and there are still many who remain skeptical of her intentions and her role within the family. In recent years, Camilla has worked diligently to reshape her public image, particularly through her charity work with victims of domestic violence, which has earned her some positive recognition. She has also sought to distance herself from the more controversial elements of her past, redirecting attention to her philanthropic endeavors and royal duties.